Hey guys, how are you? Sorry about the was I late by a couple of minutes? I might have been. Sorry about that. I was trying to organize a new interview. There is a professor in America who's actually done a lot of work on these female offenders with with the teaching. So, female offenders who mostly victimized within a school environment, the same topic that we've been covering for a number of months. And I've been trying to reach out to him, hoping that we can get him on the channel because he has an insight into this behavior of these type of offenders that I just can't give you. And I'm happy to say where the lines in the sand are, where I can't give you something because my knowledge doesn't go that far. So I always try and reach out for somebody who might have that knowledge, and it seems like he might. And I would really like to have him on the show so we can find out more about these female teachers and other female offenders. But yeah, I think it'd be really good to have him on. So sorry, I was a bit late because of that. I was trying to write an email and talk to him and try to get him on because I watched an interview he did actually on this topic, but he didn't say very much. They didn't use a lot of his interview, but the things he did have to say were really interesting, and he gave some insight into like why they do it and for what reasons. And it was very interesting because he used an example of where is it? I'm trying to find out which case it was, but yeah, let me play this. It was one of the ones that we had covered a while ago, and I'm just trying to find out who it is. I believe it's most likely who is it? I think it's definitely one of the ones that we had covered. What's her name? I think it's Brittany Zamora. Brittany Zamora, which is one of the cases of the female teachers. And it was funny because one of the videos that they played, it was a police interview of her being interviewed about her crime, and she tried to justify this is not her on the screen right now. This is Andrea. She tried to justify her actions, saying that she was a non-violent offender and that this R word that she carried out, she tried to explain it like, "I've never forced myself on anyone. This is a consensual relationship." And it's so interesting to hear them try to soften what they've done in that way because to me that's not, we know from when male offenders do it that we don't accept those type of excuses from men. She wanted it, she came onto me, that type of thing, like, oh, she was begging for it, that type. You like, how does a 12-year-old beg for it? So likewise, when these female teachers are offending and in their mindset, they're saying things like, "Well, I wasn't violent. I didn't R word anyone. It was a consensual thing. Both of us wanted it." It's interesting to hear that mindset. And yeah, he was giving some explanation on why they feel it's okay to undertake these relationship's probably the wrong word, but crime maybe? Crime? Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna try to get him on the show. I really wanna talk to him, and, I think he could give us some insight into why these female teachers are popping up in the media so much, are offending like this. Anyway, he's got a long background in criminal behavior, and, yeah, I think it would be good. Hey, Danny. Danny gifted a Knights of Ping membership. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. That is very kind. Anything to grow our community here, I would appreciate it, and thank you. Um, yeah. I've been very busy getting ready for us to go to Ballarat. We do have a hotel. I've already booked it. I've been packing stuff, making sure like all our things work, like the laptop, and we got a better microphone this time. Last time we had a very cheap one of those little mobile collar. microphones, and it didn't work very well. I've got a much better, costs like a few $100s, and it's like a mobile microphone kit. So that'll work much better for the hotel because I remember last time we had to connect this microphone to the laptop and basically hold it like a microphone to be able to talk in the hotel room. It was very inconvenient. It was not good at all. So this time we have better microphones. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Basically making sure I have everything that I need. Um, that's not surprising. That's not surprising. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. I've been getting ready to head out to Ballarat and get this show on the road. We've only been delayed by like half a year, only like half a year. So yeah, gonna do that. Head out to Ballarat, and then before that, we've got a couple of days in the appeal court coming up in about a month's time for Aaron Patterson and the appeal by the DPP. So that's coming up as well in a few weeks' time. So a very busy August and a very busy September. Uh, okay. I want to talk about this. I brought this story to you like a week or two ago. Now, this woman, Andrea Shaw, she is accused of killing her twins. And then after they died, she came out and said, oh, it was the vaccines. It was a vaccine injury that killed my children. Okay. That was fine for a period of time. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, how terrible, how awful." She appeared on podcasts and different social media, coming out and basically reinforcing this idea that they had died due to some sort of vaccine-related illness or injury. But today, in the court, they're saying here that the woman who has claimed that her children were killed by vaccines has had her bond revoked after a judge said she posed a danger to the life of the child that she just had. So she just had a new child just before she was arrested, and they're saying that she poses a danger to that child. Therefore, no bond for you, and you can have to stay in jail to protect that newborn child. They're saying here that a grand jury indicted Andrea Shaw on 2 counts of first degree murder on June 29th. Allegedly, she suffocated her two 18-month-old twins in May of 2025. And they're saying that Boise police arrested her the following day after that grand jury indictment. Days before her arrest, she gave birth to a daughter by cesarean section. Why do we need to know that? They're saying here that her lawyer had asked the court to reduce her bond from $2 million to $100,000 so that she could care for her newborn. Well, the judge didn't like that and said, well, what if you kill the newborn? The judge said, you are a risk to that child. Prosecutors opposed that request of lowering the bond, arguing that putting Shaw out into the public would put that child in danger. Prosecutors said Shaw's husband was asleep at the time when the twins died and that his account has remained consistent. However, when they interviewed Andrea Shaw, every time she's spoken and tried to give a timeline of events surrounding her children's death, she changed her story every time and made it look they're saying it made her look bad that she couldn't give a consistent story of what happened around the time frames of the when her children died. They're also saying that she admitted that at the time of the death, she was there with the kids. And so in reality, this is not a vaccine case. This is a case where a mother, unfortunately, has killed her two children. Hmm. And they're saying here Payette County Judge Kylie Stulik revoked Shaw's bond, saying the court believes she posed a risk to the newborn. Shaw is scheduled to appear in court again later in August when she is expected that she has to enter a plea to those 2 charges of murder. Uh, really brutal, really brutal. I'm very interested to see how this particular case goes, and why would you be so public with it? If you did this to your children, why would you go around on podcasts and talk about it and try and dig a hole? Because anything you say in relation to your children's, death online, those prosecutors are gonna pull that up and say, "Well, look, you said this in a recorded interview online. Why does that not match the forensic evidence that we have?" And I think that is where she's gonna have a lot of problems, with this. That and apparently she can't get her timelines right. That is what they're saying. Here, I wanted to show you when she was originally indicted, because I don't have anything from the court, I don't think, from yesterday. I don't think I have anything. Yeah, let me take you back to KTVB from back then ago.
TVB exclusive tonight. The mother of 18-month-old twins is under arrest for their deaths, and her attorney telling KTVB he believes a vaccine is what killed the toddlers. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm John Webb. We first told you about this tragic story on May 1st of last year. Tonight, after a grand jury indictment, the twins' mother, Andrea Shaw, was arrested for 2 counts of first-degree murder. Boise police officers arrested Andrea Shaw around 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. It comes after a grand jury returned an indictment on Monday. You'll recall from our previous coverage, the twin toddlers were found dead in a shared bed in the Northgate Mobile Park in Payette.
It's extremely unusual for 2 infants to be found deceased and be believed to have passed at the same time. So there's a lot of unanswered.
Yeah, I would be very interested in knowing what is the, like, if you went and looked at the statistics for anything, vaccine related and for any sort of type of death or illness, what are the chances that 2 twins both had the vaccine on the same day, both died, in the days after? What would be the statistics of that actually really happening in real life? I have a funny feeling it's 0. I have a funny feeling that because you take 2 humans and they react differently for different reasons to that vaccine, if one died, maybe you could see it as being genuine, but to have both fall sick and die at the same time and pass away at the exact same moment, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Even if it was a real thing, you would think there would be a staggered timeline of death. Like one would die at 6 a.m. in the morning and one died at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't make sense though. Um, yes, I know, but they're still different people. There's multiple cases where people have got sick, they share DNA, they die at different times. I'll give you an example. It's not a twin case though, but I'll give you an example. And it goes back to Erin Patterson. Erin Patterson poisoned her family members, right? And they all died at different times. They all ate the same thing at the same meal, and they all succumbed to the poison of the death cap mushroom at different times. So one died on like Monday, another died later that night, another died Tuesday, and then the 4th person almost died on the Wednesday but survived. So you see a kind of staggered like time of death. I would have thought it would be the same here, not that they would have died within minutes of each other to the point where mum could walk in the room and find them both dead. So I think that's a bit of a hole in it. But yeah, I mean, I don't, even if you have the same DNA, I don't think you are still different people. You're still different, even if you do share DNA like that, like a copy of each other. Hey, my friend, how are you? Inner Psychic said, "What do you think SIDS is? It's vaccine injury causing death." While I think there's a lot of there's a lot of talk within the medical community now about what SIDS actually is. And I was watching a case the other day actually where what was it? I can't remember what it was. We are watching some case where there was a woman who had killed her children. I know what it was now. I know what it is. I was watching the trial. For some reason, I found my old files in my computer, and I was watching the trial for Megan Boswell. And in the trial for Megan Boswell, they had the forensic pathologist. Forensic pathologist? Yeah. They had the forensic pathologist come in, and the defense lawyer was asking her questions about SIDS. And she said if there was a medical professional using the word SIDS anymore in this day and age, they would be laughed at in the medical community because it doesn't, as far as the medical community exists, that it doesn't exist anymore. That for 99.9% of cases now with the technology and the medical that's got so much better, they've been able to pin it down to some other cause, whether it's a genetic, something to do with genetics or, something like that, some other illness. So they're saying now that it's not a real thing. But I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I can only tell you what the experts say. Espionage said, "My best friend's kid died of SIDS. He was 17 months. So weird. Twins. Never heard of that." Yeah, twins would be weird, right? Hey, Kim. How are you? That's not what SIDS is. No. SIDS is normally unexpected death while sleeping in a bed. I mean, I think that's normally what it's classified as. It's where like a kid goes to bed and like I think it's for whatever reason. It could have had a blanket too tight, or it could have been wrapped in a certain way, or could have like there's all different things that could have that they used to think attributed to it. I don't know why they said that back in the day, but it's like you said, that's just one expert's opinion. I've heard that from multiple people now. Like I said, she was saying it's the consensus of the U.S. medical now, and she said that they don't use that term anymore. I'll find out what day it is. If you want to go listen to what she has to say, I mean, you can believe it or not. I'm just trying to tell you that's where it came from. What day was it? I think it's day 5 of the Megan Boswell trial. It's still online on YouTube. You guys can watch it. Here, is it this one? Let me have a look. It might be the other one. Give me a sec, guys. I'll show it to you so you guys can hear it. Where's the forensic pathologist? Here. I don't know if this has all of it because I think she testified over 2 days. But I'll try and find it for you.
Letter S position, mechanical asphyxia with a different going up. So essentially, when I was telling you originally positional asphyxia, she's upside. So the only thing that we can say really that it was advanced decomposition, and there were two.
Now showing the age of, or over the age of 12 months, died of rollover deaths in Tennessee.
None.
How many children in the last 10 years over the age of 1 in the state of Tennessee died from rollover deaths?
Yeah, we all of those we call like absolutely nothing else on the autopsy, and that's pretty much it.
Gastro.
I can't find it, but if you go look at day 6 and 7, you can hear what she has to say. But that's what she says. So that's what they were saying. Amy L said, weren't they boy-girl twins? Yes, boy-girl twins. So what would that be? Fraternal? Fraternal twins? Swino said, I remember her testimony. Yeah, because the defense was trying to say that maybe Evelyn Boswell died of SIDS-related death. And then she was saying that they don't even use that term anymore. It's an antiquated term within the medical system, and it's no longer really used in a professional capacity because, like that, she was saying, like most of the time they can track it down to a different cause or causation. She also says here, like one of the things that really did Megan Boswell in at this trial, I think you heard a little bit of it. They were saying that the amount of unexplained deaths for children under 1 year in the last like X many years was like zero. Zero. They had none. They had none that had like an unexplained death, which was very interesting. I don't know if it applies to this one, but I think the testimony is interesting. Danny said one expert's opinion would carry a lot of weight. Keyword being expert. Yeah, and she is an expert in this subject. That's why she's there at this trial. But Inner Psychic said it's used in Australia Red Nose Day. Is it? I thought they changed it to just babies who die or something like that. Hold on. I thought they changed it to something else recently. Yeah, here. Red Nose Day in Australia used to be for SIDS, raising money for research into it. And they're saying here, it is a leading national charity in Australia dedicated to saving the lives of babies and children and providing grief and loss support for families affected by miscarriage, stillbirth, or death of a child. It used to be known as a SIDS organization, but it is not anymore. They're saying they now pioneer safe sleep education that has reduced sudden unexpected deaths in infants by 80%. So, yeah, they now call it something else, right? SUDI. SUDI is the new thing they call it, not SIDS anymore. So they now call it sudden unexpected death in infants. And again, they still reckon that they've been able to figure out, even when there is a SUDI death, they've been able to figure out like what happened. They're saying here that their new recommendations for Red Nose charity in Australia is that babies sleep on their back, keeping the baby's face and head uncovered, keeping the sleep environment smoke free. Smoke, I didn't know that. Smoke free, I mean, I guess so. You don't want kids inhaling tobacco. Providing a safe, firm sleep surface. I don't know what they believe in for co-sleeping, but it doesn't say here. Yeah, so that is what they call it now. They're saying the organization offers free support and specialized counseling services to anyone grieving the death of a child during pregnancy, infancy, or early childhood. And they have a 24-hour support line that is funded by their charity. So yeah, they just changed the meaning of it now. So it used to be, I remember we used to have to raise money for it at school, and we used to wear the red nose. So I don't know if I have a photo of it anymore. Can we show you a photo? I think they're different. Back when I was a kid, they were made of plastic and they were very uncomfortable to wear. I think today they might be a different material. Thank God, because the plastic ones in the 90s were awful. So yeah, there you go. They must be like a clown nose, like a foam now. So they raise money for all of that, all of what I just told you. So yeah, I'm just trying to see if they even mention it at all. I'm just trying to see if they mention it in any of like their marketing stuff. You know, I think by looking here right now, I actually think it's people who remember what it was back in when they started Red Nose Day, because I'm looking through some of like the creator content here, and what I see is a lot of people using the old terminology. I see it a lot. Like I see all these posts on Facebook and TikTok and things like that, and they're all using the old terminology. Interesting. I wonder if that's just because we were so educated on it back in the 90s and early 2000s. There you go. A red nose. They say, unsurprisingly, the most prominent symbol of Red Nose Day is the red nose, historically made of plastic or foam. We only ever got the plastic ones, which were very painful to wear. And they said, but this year made of more than 95% plant-based materials. And they say the red nose was originally chosen as a symbol for being eye-catching and funny. So that's why they chose it originally. There you go. Lindy said, "Why is it called Red Nose Day?" Well, there's a reason that they have there. I was always told it's because the babies who died had a red nose in their death, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's just something that went around when in the 90s or something. But when I remember when we used to do Red Nose Day at school, that's what they used to tell us, that the babies who suffered from this would often have a red nose. But I don't know, maybe that's some sort of like Mandela effect or something like that. So yeah, still around, still a good charity, still helps a lot of families who suffer with young kids who might pass away very early on in their life. So they just they don't do. Yeah, I'm on their webpage. Let's see if we can find a mention of that word. Let's see. Do they mention the old terminology at all? Yeah, well, where would we find it? Where would it be? Yeah, like when we look on their webpage. So this is their webpage for the charity. The first thing that comes up is this, and they're talking about safe sleep and a safer pregnancy. And I don't see any wording here. What would it be? Newborn to 1 year is normally the age range. Let's have a look. I don't see anything. Let's have a look. Somewhere else, maybe? Yeah, I don't see anything with that wording. Let's go to 12 months and beyond. Do they have anything about it? I don't see them use that word on their website anymore. So yeah, I think it must be an old. Yeah, what about the research? Yeah, on the front page. It says, at Red Nose, we work to save little lives through evidence-based, safe sleep and safer pregnancy advice, education, and research. We work tirelessly to prevent the loss of babies and children when the unimaginable happens. We stand by families with compassion, ongoing support, and helping them navigate the grief and challenges after the death of a child. They say our mission is to save the lives of babies and children while offering unwavering support to those impacted by the heart-wrenching loss of a baby or child. Yeah, it's not in their mission statement anymore. I remember when it was though. I do remember in the 90s it was back in the day. It used to be called a SIDS charity. Like that's what that was their whole branding back in the back about 25 years ago. Um no clowns to make people happy. That's what they said on the website, clowns to make people happy. But yeah, that must have been a rumor or bad information, but I remember them saying that was the reason for it. It was because the babies who died often had red noses. So obviously not true. There you go. There's some education about it if you've never heard of it before. If you've never heard of the Australian charity Red Nose. Hey Astro, how are you? Good to see you. So yeah, I don't know how all this type of Sudi or SIDS might play out in this one, but I just don't think she's going to be able to. The problem when I see cases like this, do you know what I automatically think of? It's that case in Australia where that woman was accused like 25 years ago of killing, I think it's like 3 or 4 of her children, and she went to jail for years and years and years. And then scientists actually looked at her case and found out that all of her children that died at various stages of their young life actually died from a genetic disorder And originally they blamed her, saying that she deliberately killed her children. Not saying that Andrea Shaw is the same type of person or even that she did that. But there, I always think that, what is it, Kathleen Folbrig? Yeah, Kathleen. This woman, I always, whenever we hear cases like this where a woman is accused, I always a little wary because, sometimes the science we have today is not, 100%. And I always get a little worried that in 20 years' time, we might find out that it's, it might be something natural or something. So they are, if you don't know who Kathleen Folbig is an Australian woman who was wrongly convicted in 2003 of murdering her 4 infant children. She was pardoned in 2023 after 20 years in jail following a long campaign for justice by her supporters, and had her convictions overturned on appeal a few months later. They're saying here no direct evidence of the alleged crimes were ever found, but in her personal diary discovered by her husband and handed over to police, several entries seem to suggest she might have harmed, indeed murdered, her children. She was arrested in 2001 and convicted in 2003, sentenced to 40 years with a non-parole period of 30 years. Folbig maintained her innocence, however, saying the 4 children had died from natural causes. And they end up doing like a lot of scientific research on what happened, and they figured out that all the children had a genetic deformity that caused their death. So she had, it was 3 children, 4 children. She had Caleb, Patrick, Sarah, and Laura, and I think they all died. So one died at 19 days old. That was Caleb. And then Patrick died. How old was Patrick? 3 months. Till 1991. For June, yeah, something like that. Like 9 months old, he died, and then Sarah, her daughter, died at 10 months, and then Laura died at 18 months old. So yeah, this woman. Whenever we talk about women being accused of killing their kids, I always worry that we'll end up with a Folbig situation. No matter what you think of her, she had a lot of scientists on her side when they did her appeal, saying that there was no evidence that she had ever harmed her children. There's a photo of her back in the day, and there's her 4 children. I mean, it seems extraordinary, right? To give birth to 4 children, and all of them die before the age of 2. All of them pass away before they can get to their 2nd birthday. So, pretty extraordinary. Espion said 25 years. That's why I don't journal any of our hardships, just in case my rage-filled child does something or dies somehow. So my gestations and therapy don't come back because I would die for my kid. Yeah, I think sometimes journal entries are very difficult to apply in the ways that they are somehow in trials, because sometimes journals are not the truth as such. Sometimes people are just writing things, sometimes they're just having a depressive episode and they're just blurting out stuff and writing it down to try and get their thoughts onto paper. They're not always a play by play of exactly what happened, or um, they're not always the facts of what happened. And that's why sometimes you've got to be really careful with journal entries, because you don't know why the person was writing it. Maybe they were writing some sort of creative thought process, or who knows? Like, there's a million things that it could be. That's why you got to go with other type of evidence. So she's out of jail now. I don't know if she ever did a lawsuit. I'm just trying to have a look here whether she ended up getting any money for it. A judicial review, exoneration, petition for pardon. I don't know if she ever did. I'm not sure if she ever got any money for being locked up for such a long period of time. She was only pardoned in 20 years, spent the better part of 20 years in prison, almost a murder conviction anyway. There's a lot of murderers who don't even spend 20 years in jail, and she did the whole thing. So, I mean, even though she was pardoned, she lost 20 years of her life. Okay, so it does say here she got $2 million in compensation from the government. $2 million for what happened to her. Kim said, I watched a documentary where a doctor from the UK was saying there's no such thing as SIDS, it was always foul play. I don't think it's always foul play. I think what happened is the science, especially in the 70s, 80s, 90s, was not at a point where it could do the kind of forensic work that we can do now. Things like advanced toxicology, advanced microforensics, all that type of thing. They were not at a point where they could find some of the answers that we can get now. And I don't think it was always foul play. I just think there could have been, like this woman, it could have been a genetic disorder that caused her children to die before they turned 2. That's not foul play. There could be another case where it is foul play. So I don't think they're all I don't think they're all nefarious. I think a lot of the times they can just be from we didn't have the knowledge as as a human society to be able to find the answer. And I think nowadays we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. Like they said in that trial, there's only like less than 1% of all infant deaths now are unexplained. Less than 1%. They're able to do 99% of them now and figure it out. I think that's what they were saying. 99% now. SPL said, I'm sure my best friend's baby who died in 2013 was Sud's brain malfunction, but now has 3 more healthy kids. It could have been, I don't want to get personal. Did they ever do some sort of like advanced, um, not autopsy, but investigation into how the baby died? A lot of the times they may not because they don't need to. There's no criminality, so they're not going to do it. But I'm glad she's got some other children. I'm glad she does. Lisa said all suffocating because people didn't know how to sleep with their babies. There was a woman recently. There was a woman in the UK who was sleep. What do they call it when the mum and the baby sleep? Co-sleeping. They were. Is that right? They were sleeping in the bed, right? So you had dad, the baby, and mum in the bed, and the baby was in the middle between mum and dad. Some point during the night, either one of them or both of them rolled over and killed the child. And this happened like just in the last I think it was either earlier this year or late last year. And yeah, they rolled over from co-sleeping and killed the child. And yeah, really sad, really sad. Like I'm sure that they so exhausted from having a new baby. You know, you fall asleep, you go, "Oh, I'll just sit in bed and I will, tend to the child." And then you fall asleep because you're exhausted and you don't know what your body is doing when you're asleep and you roll over and oh, terrible. Yeah, but it happened not that long ago. Espion said, yeah, they did a huge autopsy and donated him to science, but it's not clear why the left side of the brain didn't develop. It was half the size. Yeah, that definitely sounds like there was a some sort of genetic disorder or some sort of developmental problem with the child, unfortunately. Who knows if they caught it earlier, maybe they could have done something to fix him. Yeah, hey, my friend. Are you walking the dog? Okay. So yeah, I hope that was insightful. We got off a little bit off topic from Andrea, but I hope that was insightful to sort of look at all the different scenarios. Look, I want to know what they said at the grand jury. We don't have that information yet, but for that grand jury to unanimously, it was unanimously come back with an indictment to arrest her on 2 counts of murder. I'd want to know what they said at the grand jury. Here, I'll take you back to that video and we'll watch the rest of it while I get a drink. Hold on.
Questions that we have right now. We are very hopeful that the autopsies will answer a lot of those questions.
At the time, officers were treating the investigation as a homicide with, quote, foul play expected. In the days to follow, though, their mother, Andrea Shaw, went on a podcast claiming vaccines were the cause of her twins' deaths.
You are convinced that these babies died following the vaccinations,
Yes.
but you're so pro-vaccine. So how does that make you both feel that this has happened, that you were lied to?
I feel that I wish I was anti-vaccine now.
Shaw's attorney told us that he too believes her children died from a vaccine.
They were looking at it being a vaccine death, and that's still what I believe it to be.
Yeah, you think it is?
Yeah.
And what reasons do you have to believe that?
Well, the medical experts, I'm not a medical expert, but the medical experts I have go through a series of looking at when they had different complications.
Officers say this was a lengthy investigation and involved multiple agencies. What's in the indictment is unclear at this point. We're waiting for it to be publicly filed, which should be available by Wednesday. In that document, we should learn why Shaw.
I haven't seen an indictment. Hold on. Is there one? I've not seen an indictment for her. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, is this it here? Oh, you mother effer. Yeah, I think there is, but I can't access it. I'm getting so sick of it. Like, why do they care if an Australian wants to access it? Look at this. You've been blocked by the Idaho government. This is happening. When I first started this channel, this never happened. I had this very, very rarely. Now, every second or third website out of the US blocks my, blocks me accessing it. Now, let me I really want to try find this another way. Let me try and see if I can grab it. Actually, if I put the link in the chat, can someone grab it and just email it to me and we'll have a look? Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat. Someone from America. I'm really going to have to go to the VPN route. I really didn't want to have to do it, but we're going to have to. Yeah, if someone could grab this document for me, it's in the chat, and send it to me, I would appreciate it, and we'll have a look. So that looks like it is an indictment for her. It says here, case number CR38-26-1685, indictment v. Andrea Renee Shaw. And it says she's been accused by the 34... I just can't read anymore. Why is there no one else who has posted the PDF? Let me have a look somewhere else. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at another place. Okay. Yeah, no, they're not mentioning it. The evidence that I can see here just says that prosecutors said Shaw's husband was asleep at the time and they do not believe he is involved. They say, however, Andrea changed her story every time to make it makes her look bad. Every time there were criminal implications, so anytime criminal implications were suggested, she would change her story to match the evidence. They're saying here, and she admitted that at the time of the death, she was there with the children. And so the reality is this is not a vaccine case. This is a case where a mother, unfortunately, yeah, but why? Tell us like the more evidence here. That's what I want to know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, send it to this address if someone can. I would appreciate it. And we'll have a look at it. SPL said, my kid's allergic to ham. It really? Is it the nitro, what do they call it? The nitro something or whatever that's in it? I can't remember. There's something in American ham called nitro, something like nitro something. And I know there's children in America who are allergic to it. I don't know if we have it in our ham here. Maybe we do. All right. Until we get that, I'm going to leave that for a second because I can't really do anything else about it. All right. You remember how I told you guys that it would be a matter of days until I could show you another woman who had been killed? Well, yeah, it was like 2 days. There is another woman in Queensland who has been found dead following a welfare check in the CBD area of a Queensland city. They're saying emergency services discovered her body at a property on Denham Street in Rockhampton at 1:15 p.m. on Wednesday. A crime scene was established and forensic officers were at the scene. They said at this point in time, there is no ongoing threat to the public and no further information is available at this time. But they did send out a forensics team to go take photos and evidence. And who called in the welfare check? I'm going to tell you some more details here. They're saying the homicide squad has now been brought in to probe the death of the 32-year-old woman. And they're saying here that Superintendent Darren Shadlow said the woman had sustained a serious head injury and was found with blood pooling around her head, and that she may have been dead for over a day before police arrived at the home. Besides the woman's injuries, he confirmed the death is being treated as suspicious owing to the position of the body, and the homicide squad has been called in to investigate. He also said police have spoken to the woman's 32-year-old male partner who lives at the same address. He said the man is known to police. However, they stressed no arrests or charges have been made. They said, we want to make sure that we do everything we can to try and establish the cause of death. We don't know the mechanism of the injury or the extent of the injury at this time. So there was only 2 people at the property. The woman and the partner. But they reckon she could have been dead for almost 24 hours. If that is true, how come no one called it in that she was injured? And if you're so injured that you have blood pooling around your head, I would think you would want to call like an ambulance or something like that. I find that a little odd that you would just be like, nah, she's right. She'll just go to bed and sleep it off and she'll be okay in the morning. So yeah, another case, 32-year-old woman in Queensland in Rockhampton. I don't know what to tell you guys. I told you it wouldn't be long until we had another one. So we're going to have to wait and find out with this. I don't have too much more information other than that. I'm just going to check one other place. No one's been arrested, I don't think. Hey, Amy, thank you, my friend. I'll look at it in a second. I just want to see if there's like photos from the area. Maybe this one? It really is downtown. I wish we could play this video for you. So I showed you the photo on the screen right now. They are really like in the city of Rockhampton. Look at this. There's a forensic officer right here. like walking down the main street, trying to look for evidence. Look, look, look. Looking up and then down. I guess they're looking for maybe blood that they can't, like, you know, little drops of blood, because they're looking up and then down, like up at the top of the roof. Hmm. You have to ask, like, being that it is right in the center of town, did no one hear anything? Do they have neighbors? It's obvious that they live above the shops or something. Yeah, here. They must live in the apartments up here, because down here it's a massage parlor. So down here is a massage parlor, and you can see down here there's a door. This must be the door to get up here to the apartments above. So this must be the resident access right there. So yeah, the must have happened up here. You can also see a light right here that's on, possibly where the forensics are located. So we'll have to wait and find out what happened to that woman, and whether the partner. It's sounding like that's what's going on. Like, how else did that woman die? So you only have two people there. She could have been dead for up to 24 hours, and no one called emergency services until a welfare check was called in. Yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious at all. Hey, thanks, Amy. What does it say here? Interesting. Who are these people? We'll have to have a look at this. All right. Here's the indictment for Andrea. Does it tell us anything? So count one, they're both the same count, just twice. Andrea Renee Shaw, on or about May 1st, 2025, in the county of Payette, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice afterthought, and or in the preparation of an aggravated battery on a child under the age of 12, did kill and murder the child, a human child approximately 18 months old, by the act of suffocating her, resulting in death. What do they say about the other one? Same thing. They're deliberately keeping this very vague. Normally in an indictment, you get more information than that. It could be because they're children too. That could be true as well. And then they have a list of witnesses who were examined before the grand jury. One called Derek Forey, another one called another Derek, Derek DePlays, Brad Cohen, and Stephen Bennett. Who are they? I got no idea. So that's all that's in it. So the same count for each child and exactly the same cause and information. So really we didn't get a lot out of that. Would have liked to have seen a much more in-depth indictment, unfortunately. Inner Psychic said lots of druggies in Rocky. Yes. I used to live in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and I've been up to Rockhampton a number of times, and it is a little, it can be a little rough. Can be a little like, yeah, it's sort of boganish, country-ish, a little of X, Y, and Z. So we'll have to keep you in touch with what's going on with that one. All right, let's see if we can find anything else with Andrea. All right, let's take you out to KTVB7. They've got a bit of an update too.
The woman accused of murdering her twin toddlers last year was arraigned in district court today.
Andrea Shaw was in person for the first time since a grand jury indicted her on 2 counts of first-degree murder. KTVB's John Webb was there for the hearing.
We learned late this afternoon that Andrea Shaw's bond was revoked altogether. Of course, you recall she had a $2 million bond. Defense wanted that dropped down to $100,000. The judge said she didn't view Shaw as a threat to the general public, but that she did view her as a threat to her newborn baby that she gave birth to just weeks before her arrest. Andrea Shaw's family watching as she walked into a Payette County courtroom handcuffed and shackled. Shaw did not enter a plea on Tuesday. During the hearing, the prosecutor disputed Shaw's claims that vaccines killed her twin toddlers. We also learned that the coroner was looking at environmental concerns as a potential cause of death. Defense claimed the coroner suspected the heat inside of the toddler's room could have killed them. But the prosecutor says his medical experts ruled out heat and determined the twins died of suffocation, something he claims the coroner agreed with.
Both children had pulmonary vascular congestion. These are symptoms consistent with suffocation.
The prosecutor also said Andrea Shaw's story changed multiple times throughout the investigation and admitted to being inside of the home when the toddlers died. Defense says vaccines killed the 18-month-olds.
I think people could see from the medical record what was going on. She was a caring, loving mother. She's not what the state's pointing her out to be. People die, and when it's twins and they're identical, it's a different story. These are not identical. They're fraternal, male and female, but they still have similar DNA, and they still had a father and a grandmother who had issues with vaccines.
The defense will be getting a copy of the grand jury indictment transcript. You'll remember she was indicted by a grand jury. We've requested that transcript as well, but we're denied because it's sealed. Again, Sean.
Okay, interesting. We can't have the grand jury transcript or the audio from the grand jury because it has been sealed. That is why we don't have more information on what exact evidence did they produce the indictment on. That's what I'd like to know before we throw any sort of like, you know, take this woman to the stake and burn her. I'd like to know the other evidence of what's going on here because I just it's not enough to just be like, hey, a grand jury said that we should indict her. And I'd like to know the other evidence going on here. I mean, it could be that they're right. It could be that she's being strung up, over something that she had no control over. Like, we don't know. She could have been saying that vaccine thing just to be popular and cool with the anti-vax people in the grief of her children. Who knows? But we won't know until they actually give us the evidence, until we have a look at it, see what they're actually trying to convict her on. You can't convict people based on, well, her story changed a bunch of times. I'd like to see that there's more evidence than that. A lot more. Okay. All right, we're done with that. I have a bit of an update for you. I will be most likely away tomorrow. I have a Supreme Court hearing tomorrow booked in for, let me check what time it's for tomorrow. For 10:30 in the morning. And I think this one, being that it most likely will be one of the last ones before we go to trial, I think it's going to be quite long. I think they're going to probably take up most of the day to try and get through anything they have to get through before we head to Ballarat. So most likely I will not be here tomorrow, but we'll see. If I can get out early and I can do a live stream for you, I will. I will do it. All right. I have another story that I want to talk to you about. Remember last night we did that story about the Florida guy that was he was executed for murdering that girl? I want to talk more about that in a minute, but I also want to just check in on the manhunt in Florida. Like, what is going on to try and find that woman accused of murdering that male? Hold on. Let me see if there's an update. Did they catch her? Let's have a look. So her name is Isabel Johnson, and she is currently evading the law and is on the run after allegedly killing a young man called Jason Christopher Coulthard. And they're saying that she buried him in a shallow grave in Freeport in Florida. So they are still searching for this woman, and they're saying that she could be armed and dangerous. I'd I wouldn't be approaching her. I mean, that's not something I would want to do. I'm just trying to see if there's any big update for Isabel. Let's have a look. So these other people were also arrested for either helping her, keeping her like away from law enforcement, or a variety of things of assisting her after the murder. So we brought it to the other night. There's Isabel in the bottom right. And I'm just trying to see, did they actually find her? And here's the young man. Well, he's not that young. He's 43. There's the guy that she's accused of killing and then burying in a shallow grave. I mean, pretty bad. Pretty bad if true. So let me see. Where is she? Isabel Johnson. So they're offering an $11,000 reward. Actually, just in the last couple of hours, they have raised the reward to $11,000 trying to find her. So there is a new reward on offer to try and bring her into custody. Here, I'll show it to you. Now that's a pretty good reward for information. We have Brooke Hanlon in Chester County in New Jersey, who was murdered in her home at 4:30 in the afternoon, and they offered up $1,000 if you could tell them who the murderer was. This one, a woman who buried a man in the backyard of a property, is getting an $11,000 reward to bring her into custody. It's pretty despondent between the two. Oh, what's this? Let me see if this is a update video for you guys. It is not. All right, so what are they saying for the reward? They're saying it is a combined $11,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest of Isabel Johnson, who the Walton County Sheriff's Office says is wanted on an open murder charge in the death of 43-year-old Jason Coulthard. Yeah, there you go. They're saying here, investigators say Johnson often moves frequently and may try to persuade people to help her by appealing to their sympathy, including claims of DV or other personal hardships. They're saying she is believed to have a floral tattoo on her left hand near her thumb and forefinger, and another tattoo on her right ankle. Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers is offering up to $6,000, and the Florida Sheriff's Association Criminal Apprehension Assistance Program, that is the longest name ever, has added $5,000. They need a shorter name for that. What can they call them? The FSACAA. There you go. The FSACAA. Oh no, it'd be FSACAAP. I don't. It's yeah. We're just gonna call it that. The FSACAAP. There you go. They added $5,000. Why do you have someone who has like a 7-word title? They just call it CAP. Apparently, they don't use the other word. They just call it CAAP, CAP. And they're saying it is a program which provides enhanced rewards, often doubling the standard payout for tips leading to the arrest of suspects in high priority violent or unsolved cases. There you go. This is a good one. It is a murder investigation. So Sorry, someone's messaging me. Hold on. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. People messaging ping. Okay. So what is it saying here? Oh, okay. Apparently, this woman, Isabel, has about 40 different names that she goes by, including Harley, Jessica Elaine Bowman, Jessica Elaine Thrush. Why would you name yourself after like a yeast infection in a woman's vagina? What is wrong with you? I mean, don't go try pick up men with that name. They just be like, "No thanks. You go over there." Yeah, Jessica Elaine Thrush. And then Jessica Dowdy. And then possibly she also uses the name Denise as well. They say that she has ties to Okaloosa and Walton counties in Florida, as well as also Georgia and Lower Alabama. So, so a lot of places to try and find her. I had a feeling Georgia might be a place she ran to. I did have a feeling when we were talking about it the other night. I said, I wonder if she's gone up to Georgia because a lot of people that run away from Florida often try and go north. They're saying here that she did have brown hair and hazel eyes, but they're saying they think that she recently cut her hair and dyed her hair to disguise her identity. So while she's on the run, she has changed her appearance. I mean, I guess you'd want to change your appearance if you're on the run. Let's see if we can. Is there a photo of what they think she might look like? I don't think so. We need like some CCTV of her on the run to see what she looks like. So there's what she looks like from the other night. So they have not found her as of yet. You'll end up in the where would you end up? Well, no, you can go west, Joe. You can go west from Florida. You'll end up in Texas. So you go to Louisiana, then you'll end up in Texas. So you can go west, you just can't go south. You'll end up in the islands probably. You'll end up in like the Bahamas or something. All right. Let me see what else. Yes. Okay. People got to stop messaging me when I'm on the air. All right, let's have another look. What else do we have? Let's have a look. What else? Any new information for it? Oh, what's this? We have a video of her at a counter. Is that her? Oh, there is some video of her. Do you guys want to watch it? All right, here. Hey, go away. There we go.
And yeah, this will tell me cool experience and how I'm just trying to get back to my house. Okay, I'll pull up the address, and the address will tell me cool experience and how I'm just trying to get back to my house. Okay,
So has she gone into somewhere asking to use a phone because she doesn't know where she is? That's what it seems like from the video, right? That she's basically gone into somewhere and asked to borrow their phone.
I'm trying to see. I don't have my husband's, and the address will tell me I'll put the address, and the address will tell me full experience and how.
Can anyone hear what she says in that second bit? I can't make out what she's saying. Hey, Content Angel, how are you? Yeah, if anyone can make out what she's saying in that second bit, I'd appreciate it, because I can't hear it. I can't. She kind of mumbles, and I can't hear
I'm
it.
just trying to get, and the address will tell me full experience and how.
I think she says something like somehow, but I don't get the other part of it, like what she's actually saying. So yeah, Isabel Johnson, I don't understand why we don't have the I can't remember what they're called now, but the people who go looking for the fugitives, the fugitive task force. I am surprised that they are not out there trying to track her down, because they normally do a pretty good job. So if she doesn't have a car, we've not heard that she has a vehicle. She's got to be on foot, or someone is helping her. The fact that she's already had multiple people around her that have helped her, I wouldn't be surprised if there is more people. Like, all these people got arrested because they tried to help her get away from the authorities, because we've not heard about a vehicle. We don't have a license plate for a vehicle, and it tells me either she's on foot or someone else is helping her. Someone would have to help her get out of Florida. So where they're from is right on the panhandle. I'm pretty sure Walton County is right up on that panhandle. So she could cross into either Louisiana or Georgia pretty easily. I'm just having a look how far we'd have to go. Yeah, it's right in that panhandle. It's Jacksonville. So, I mean, you probably got what, 50, probably 100 miles to the Louisiana border. And then this particular county in Florida actually backs onto the Georgia border. So she could make it out of Florida pretty easily. She would just have to go about 100 miles to her west, or what's that? About 30 miles to the north, and she would be outside of the area for the local authorities. So she like Joe pointed out, she can't go south. She'll end up in the Gulf. The Gulf of America. The Gulf of America. So yeah, there you go. If you're in Florida, you have a murderer just running around out there. Bounty hunters? I think he's busy doing something else. Missy said, "What a manipulator." Yeah. She's traveling by underground banjo railway. I don't know. I don't hear the banjos here. They're very distant. I don't hear the banjos. They're very far away. she might be part of the banjo crew, but I don't hear it right now. So yeah, she's still on the run, guys. I hope if you're in the Jacksonville area that she's not, like, you don't come across her. I hope she doesn't, you know, I hope you don't see her and you don't have to be the one to call the authorities. She seems pretty dangerous. The fact that she just murdered this guy and then decided, hey, you know what I'm going to do with him? I'm just going to bury him in the backyard. So, I'm just trying to see if there's a better update for her. Okay. No new update. The only update is the extended reward money. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. Hopefully she's not on the run for too much longer. She doesn't have any money, and unless someone is financing her to get away, I just don't think she's going to be on the run for that long. All right. All right. We have another story. This story might make you very mad, okay? And you know we like to be mad on this channel, but this one might make you upset and mad at the same time. So there was a story that was out today, and I'll just take you out there. I'm going to take you out to WSB, and it's out of Atlanta. And you guys have a listen to this. Actually, that's the wrong video. Give me a sec. Need. Okay, sorry. We're not. That's a different story, same subject, but no, we're going to go out to the UK. This story I was reading about earlier today, and just brace yourselves for this one, okay? Just brace yourselves. And now I don't know where Kington is. I think it's near Herefordshire in the UK. But you guys have to listen to this. I'm going to cough in a second. I really need to play you a video. All right. Let's go here. This is one of the saddest stories I've ever brought you on this channel. And I say that a lot, but this is bad. All right. Now, this looks like just plastic bags, right? Plastic bags. Except when I tell you what is in the plastic bags. Inside of those bags, sitting right in front of you, are the remains of people's animals and pets. People's like dogs and cats and things like that. They were taken to a crematorium after death. This crematorium only deals in animals, and they were supposed to cremate these animals, some of them in a group cremation, some of them as an individual cremation. This particular place decides, do you know what we're going to do? We're just going to dump them wherever we can, all over the property, and let them decompose. Now, a woman went out there and she was investigating where her beloved dog had gone after he was put down at the vet. She went out to the property and she said she saw remains of pets in these bags, including ones that had been torn open with tails sticking out and heads hanging out, fur very recognizable, and just dumped in big piles. What she also noticed was there were multiple animal remains in the ground. So just surrounding the property, there were multiple bones and bone fragments just littered around the property. And you can see there are some small bones and bone fragments right there. And I got to tell you guys, a place that would do this to your animals, look, there's a pile of ashes that they just dumped. Like there's no anything. They just went, oh, we'll just put them all over here. And these are a conglomeration of different people's pets. You will never figure out whose animal is who when it looks like this. Never. Like these are all bones and ashes here right now. And what is even more disgusting, after this woman, her name is Jess Roberts, put down her dog Teddy after he died after being 10 years together. And then she sent him away to be cremated, and he never came back cremated. So she went out to the company to investigate. And the photos that I've shown you is what she found on the property. She said when she got there, all she could smell was decomposition. In the entire place smelled like decomp. And then when she started snooping around, she found the photos that you just saw. She said she has even worse photos that she cannot view. She said after she was snooping around a little bit, a worker came out. The worker became very aggressive and started giving them like just weird information like who's your dog and what's its name and where did it come from and what bag did you put the dog in? That's what she was asking. Um guys, hold on. Mrs. Ping is being weird. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, when she got there, this worker started being aggressive, and basically she ended up getting arrested for assault because she was trying to find out what happened to her dog. And yeah, it's awful. Like, how could you do that to grieving families? And pets are like our closest companions, and you just dump them there to basically rot. And here's another thing that they found: just another pit full of remains and not things that are not being charred or ashed properly. And they said it's also mingled with rubbish. So people's beloved pets are full of rubbish as well. They said that there was also a bunch of animals creeping around the property. Some of them were like a bunch of cats who are mangled, manged, and not being taken care of. And they were playing in the remains of other animals, like getting in the bags and rolling around in it. And these other animals also probably should be taken away and helped. Yeah, I'm going to show you a video if I can. Yeah.
Animals are getting sent here. They're meant to be refrigerated till cremation. There's bags of blood and dead dogs.
Piles of ashes and bones discarded carelessly around the property, an overgrown memorial garden where a tractor has been parked across their graves, and piles of festering clinical waste bags and bins leaking blood.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal to do that to people and their animals when they have they must be going through. We've all lost pets. We know what it's like. It is awful. So why they're not cremating them and they're just dumping them across the property, including in what's supposed to be a refrigerated van, and just leaving them there to like decompose in a enclosed area. Basically, it looks like they were taking cremation requests and just not doing them, dumping them there. I don't know if their furnace has broken down, but that is not the correct way to deal with pet remains, yet alone humans. So the APHA and the RSPCA and other relevant authorities with Herefordshire Council are investigating. They are saying that there is multiple laws and regulations that have been broken, and they are now trying to find out the owners and figure out what the hell is going on. They're saying a pet cremation business is being probed over squalid conditions, with one witness describing a smell of death from rotting carcasses, as well as piles of bones and ash scattered around the property. The place is called Animal Funeral Services, based at Litfield House Farm near Kington in Herefordshire. They're saying that the business was served with a stop notice on July 9, which prohibits the use of animal byproducts at the site while the investigation continues. Hold on. So they are being investigated. I mean, the photos themselves are just like the fact that you could see this, like the bones of a small animal. That could be someone's cat. That could be someone's dog, and they're just in the rubbish on the ground. I just don't know. Like these poor people, like this girl Jess, they're never gonna find their dog. Like this woman, the one who went there, the one who blew the lid on it. I'll show you a photo of her. Here's her and her dog. They're never going to find that dog. They will never find the remains for it. If it's been mingled up and just dumped in the open, it cannot be found. It is very, very sad. There is even more. There is even more at this place. Look. Dumped in a shed on the property, and you can see they're like they're bags that say individual cremation category 1 material, and instead of actually cremating them, they just dump them. And in the corner you can see the cremation furnace over here. There it is. There, it's on the left hand side over here. So why are they not doing it? Why have they just dumped everything? And this is not like a month problem. This looks like it's been going on for years. Like, what happened here? Why has none of the work been undertaken that people are paid for? I cannot believe someone would be so heartless, but to do that to like people who love their animals. It's awful. Here, I'm gonna try look up the reviews for this place. What is it called? It's called Animal Funeral Services. I know it's a very awful topic, guys, but I feel like if I don't tell you this, then their reputation, no one will ever know about it. I know I love animals too. Yeah, I'm gonna try find out more about this company. Do they even have an online thing? Doesn't look like it. I do not see an online thing for it. Let me have a look. Okay, it says here that it is now permanently closed. That is what it says, permanently closed. And they're saying posting is currently turned off. Interesting. Why is it turned off? Let's have a look. Newest review. A lot of people writing negative reviews saying that they didn't get their animals' remains back at all. And they're saying here one woman called Janata said, horrified to find out my friend's beloved dog's ashes have been lost and the company is ignoring her. Disgusting conduct. Hope they offer monetary compensation, even though it won't take the shock and pain away, along with a heartfelt apology. Another one here a week ago from someone called Charlie. It is one of the saddest times losing a beloved pet, and it is very difficult to overcome. Our vets dealt with this company as a third party, so it was out of their control. They're saying that they can't get in contact with the company, that the company is not returning their calls to try and find out where their animal is. They're saying here another lady called Karen a year ago said, "We've been trying to get a paw print back for our dog for over half a year. This has still not happened, and we've not been able to contact Rachel at Animal Funeral Services. And when we left messages, they have not been returned." So before that, they got 5-star reviews. So what happened in the last 12 months where everything just went downhill? They have a website. Let's have a look. Here's their website. I'm showing it to you guys now. Okay. Can we pay for a thing? Are they still open? So apparently they even do horses, ponies, and donkeys at this particular place. And they do small animals and dogs and cats. They even do little like, oh my god, look how adorable that thing is. What is that? What is that thing? Oh my god, it's so cute. And then they're supposed to give you something that looks like that, like a box for your rabbit, and poor rabbit had to be cremated. But that's what they're supposed to be doing, not dumping your pet's remains all over the property. You know, the question that I have is, if this is what they found, like these tractor loads of remains that have not been dealt with, who's to say if you had your pet cremated here over the last, I don't know, 10 years, who's to say that what you got back in the urn is actually your animal? It could be for years they've been doing this and just like scooping stuff up and putting it in an urn and sending it back, and it's not even your animal. I would be worried that whatever you got back from them is not yours, and that they've just been doing whatever, taking people's money and doing this, dumping all the big bits over there. Terrible. The vet in Kington is also a large animal vet. Okay. Um, Awful. Amy said, "My last dog died, was like 300 for cremation. Wouldn't more people be asking for the ashes? Or are they?" That's what I think. I think they're just taking a scoop of whatever and putting it in the thing and sending it back. You know, they're like, they'll never know. This is just ashes of whatever. I reckon that's what they've been doing. Yeah, maybe someone else took over the business, because apparently before a year ago, they were doing okay and they got a lot of good reviews, but something happened in the last 12 months where they have done some really dodgy, unethical type of stuff. There's another photo, but I'm not going to show it to you. It is of a horse being cremated. I'm not going to show you that. No one needs to see a horse being cremated. Let's have a look. Yeah, so look, they're under investigation. I hope they're shut down. Their online thing says they are closed permanently. But what happened to Rachel, the woman who owned it? What happened to the people who work there? Like, there's no information on why this happened or how it got to this point at all. There's nothing. Like, there's no explanation. There's no, hey, the guy that did our cremations died. Like, there's nothing. Yeah, there's actually, let's have a look. What does this say? So a vet in the nearby area called the Oaks Veterinary Center put out a notice today to their clients saying that they never used animal funeral services at all for any of their cremations for their vet. They're saying they just never did that. So that's good if you went to that vet. Yeah, that scene with the van is just horrific. Let me take you out. I really don't want to show this to you, but Yeah. There's that, so where did the van come from? Oh my god, that van is, like, leaking bodily fluids of these animals. Oh my god. Oh, don't show us that. No, we don't need to see that. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it would show us a dead animal. I don't wanna see that. I'm gonna take you back. No, not there. Here, there you go. There's the nice dog. Look, those people should be charged. Those people should be charged with a multitude of crimes. That is like a pet owner's worst nightmare. I don't wish that to happen to anyone ever. You know, as a person who loves his animals, I have my cats and they're awesome. I would never I'd kill someone if they did that to my cats when they passed away. I would you'd be in a lot of trouble if you did that to my pets. I wouldn't be leaving that place until I got my pound of flesh, and I don't mean my animal. Lisa said, "If you didn't wanna show it, then why" I didn't know that it had it. I didn't know that it had that, on the video. I thought that was a better quality video of the one we watched before, which didn't have any animals in it. So I thought it was the same thing, just a better quality. But no, it had an animal in it. I don't wanna show you that. So awful, awful. Let's hope that we don't have to, see that ever again. So, yeah. Wonder what criminal charges you could get done with. What could you get? Is there anything in the UK that means they could go to jail? Let's have a look. It looks abandoned. Look at this. This one has no like bad things in it. Look at this. It looks abandoned. This is their office. What? How? It looks like no one's been here in like years. This is not an office. This is like, I don't even know what this is. Look at that. And they've got animal cages in there. Like, what is going on? There's a computer back here from the 1980s. Look at this. Look at that computer. I know you guys might not be able to see it, but there is a like Dell Compaq from like 1992. What the F? Oh, you know what I'm guessing? I'm gonna take a guess, and I reckon there was an older man or couple that used to run this place, and I reckon they died. This looks like an older couple ran this for like, you know, 30 years, and I reckon they died. And then that's where everything's gone downhill. And maybe family have tried to run it, and then it's, you know, they've not been able to do it. Cause yeah, this looks like all of this stuff is very, very old. And it looks like it's been here for, I don't know, decades. Weird though, they have bubble wrap right here. Bubble wrap and maybe like boxes or something. So they were trying to send out packages at one point recently. But yeah, it's very old. Man, if this is where your pets had to come from, that's awful. Hoarders? Maybe like a hoarding problem? You might be right. I don't know. I don't know how that works with like say a funeral or like a cremation service for animals. Let me have a look. Because they're not mentioning any charges in the in these articles. Let's have a look. Okay. So apparently, the woman who took a lot of these videos went back there after she took the photos and found one of the people that's supposed to work there. The owner is called Michelle Jenkins, or at least is supposed to be one of the people who's friends with a woman called Rachel Slaughter. What a name for a woman who works in a crematorium. Her name is Rachel Slaughter. And apparently, no one's been able to reach Rachel in a number of months. So, whatever happened to her? Let's have a look. What is it? Oh, I want to know what that says. Oh, something got taken down. They're saying here Rachel Slaughter office sent this to me. This all happened yesterday. Police involved, and she was a former welfare officer. So someone called John G. Kelly on Facebook said, just before they were charged for assault, that they were on Rachel Slaughter's property looking for her, and then Rachel Slaughter called the cops on them when they were asking too many questions about where their dog Teddy was. They started to call the authorities on them. I can't see any charges. You might have something to do with like abuse of animals. That's what I would think. The RSPCA says this investigation is being led by local authorities, and as they are the body that licenses crematoriums, it's not something we are involved with at this point in time. So the RSPCA are not involved, just the local authorities. It seems like maybe there's not a lot of charges once the animal is not alive anymore. It seems like most of the animal protection laws are designed for animals that are alive. Brutal. I hope I'll bring you a good update later on about what happened to the owners, and that they will be held accountable. But for now, that's all the information I have on it. Okay. All right, one more story. Actually, I might have two. All right, I'm gonna hold on. I want to take you out to Arizona, because why not? And I'm just trying to get you out there. There's a case in Arizona that I want to talk to you about, and I'm just trying to load the website for it. Here we go. Finally. All right. So we spoke about this murder a little while ago, and it's about a man who is accused of killing a 21-year-old and then dumping the body while he was on probation. He buried this woman's body in the desert. In the desert. All right, watch this video and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we went down to the Clerk of Superior Court's office and we pulled these court records. They reveal Dominic Rodolico's criminal history and the childhood trauma that may have shaped who he became as an adult.
Saturday, cell phone data and cadaver dogs led investigators to the body of 21-year-old Ariana Jones.
And I'm sure she didn't know what was happening. I'm sure she didn't know that he was going to do this to her.
She leaves behind a devastated mother and a 2-year-old son.
This was not supposed to happen to her.
Police believe Ariana met 24-year-old Dominic Rodolico through social media. The two went to the movies on the night of July 5th. Then Rodolico is accused of driving out to this desert area, murdering Ariana, and burying her body.
We're not quite sure where the motive lies in all of this.
This is not Rodolico's first run-in with law enforcement. Court documents obtained by Arizona's family reveal he impersonated a Quick Trip employee last year and stole $300 from two QT locations and was sentenced to 2 years probation.
I think that shows the willingness to engage in probably impulsive acts.
I asked forensic psychologist John De La Torre how someone makes a jump from criminal impersonation to murder.
Sometimes the leap is not as much if you already have, number one, a history of criminal activity, but also family members that have engaged in criminal activity.
Rodolico's father, stepfather, and brother all have criminal records, according to court documents. Rodolico reported witnessing domestic violence as a child and said he'd used marijuana, cocaine, and mushrooms as a teenager.
Sometimes they need some kind of intoxicant in order to get past that boundary that we all have of not harming someone.
When Rodolico was arrested, he told detectives he and Ariana were jumped by two men. They stabbed her and he was somehow able to escape. He's being held on a $2 million bond. In the studio, Molly McBride for Arizona's Family.
I hope you guys are still there. We had a freeze while I was watching the video, so I hope you guys we're still connected. So what a awful individual. And I don't know, do you guys think that these excuses of his offending, he used marijuana? I don't think that accounts for what happened. So I'll run you through a bit more. They're saying he's accused of murdering that young mother he met online and then buried her body in a shallow grave. How come they're never a deep grave? They're always a shallow grave. They're saying Dominique has been charged with first-degree murder and abandonment or concealment of a dead body in connection with the death of the 21-year-old Ariana Bailey Jones, who was reported missing by her family in July. And they're saying here, we believe that the two of them had been in communication with one another through some type of social media, and then they met for a date. They're saying here that the two were seen at a movie together and then ended up in this remote area where we believe the crime took place. Remains believed to be Jones were discovered on July 11 in a remote desert area near Lake Pleasant, and we are still waiting for some test results from the medical examiner, but there was enough evidence, physical evidence, of not only clothing, but some other things that matched her to be able to identify her. So, here, I'm going to put his, you guys have the mugshot, but there's a better one. There is his mugshot, and I don't know how you go on a date and then somehow end up killing this woman after you went to the movies together. Let's have a look. What's interesting is in the affidavit against him, his own mother told police that on the morning of July 6th, she found her son in the bathroom with 3 large lacerations to his right hand. He told his mom that he'd been attacked by unknown people, 2 unknown men. He then stated that he had taken a girl he met on Snapchat to the Harkins Theater for a movie that evening. He then allegedly told police that he and Jones were jumped by 2 men. He claimed that the 2 men stabbed her and that he was able to get away. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It just doesn't sound believable. He is saying that 2 of them were in the remote area and that 2 individuals showed up and attacked them. And at some point, he made his getaway and left her there. He believes that's how this all took place, but the cops say we have sufficient evidence to believe that he is the person responsible, and that's why he is facing the homicide charges. He's currently being held on a $2 million bond. Yeah, I don't believe his story that somehow you can just, in a remote location, somehow be attacked by random people. And they, it doesn't say much for him, does it? He's like, but I ran away to save myself. There's a photo of her, by the way, with him. Yeah, I don't believe his story. I don't believe there was two magical people who appeared out of nowhere and then attacked you. I think most likely is that you took her out for a date, and when she didn't want to have sex with you, you decided to R-word her and then just kill her anyway. I have a funny feeling that is probably what happened. So let's see if we can find anything else about him. Yeah, here. I'm gonna take you out to the local Fox affiliate, and I'll show you what they have to say.
Glendale police arrested a man they say killed a young woman and buried her in the desert. Ariana Jones was reported missing last Tuesday after her mother hadn't heard from her in a couple days. She was last seen going to the movies with this man, 23-year-old Dominic Rodolico. On Saturday, her remains were found in a shallow grave near Lake Pleasant. Rodolico is now charged with first-degree murder. He's being held on a $2 million bond. And tonight we are hearing from Ariana's mother, who again reported her missing.
She spent all of last week searching for her daughter and told Armali McBride this is not the ending that she had imagined.
Her mother says her daughter was so much more than a headline. She doesn't want her to be defined by what happened to her and instead by who she was.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all to her, to me, to her son, to her brothers and her sisters. It's not fair to anybody, to her friends. It's not fair. She was 21 years old. 21. Like she.
Ariana Jones's mother, Sophia Sardinas, overcome with grief.
And I'm so sorry that this happened to her because this was not supposed to happen to her.
She wanted to tell everybody about Ariana, that she loved being a mom to her 2-year-old son.
She needed to come home to her son. She needed to come back to her baby and me.
And that she hadn't had the easiest childhood. She says Ariana was adopted when she was 3 and bounced around from house to house. The two were reunited when Ariana was 18, and she had big plans for her future.
She wanted to have a family. That's all she wanted. And for this guy to take her life from her like that?
Sophia reported Ariana missing July 7th. She says she stopped responding to her calls or texts. When she went to her daughter's apartment to check it out, her fears were confirmed.
I felt this heavy feeling, like I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like something happened. Something was wrong with my baby.
Sophia spent the week searching, handing out flyers, and holding onto hope until she got the horrific news that Ariana wasn't coming home.
She just wanted to, go out to the movies. She just wanted to watch a movie.
When her daughter disappeared, Sophia was watching her young son. She believes Ariana fought hard to get back to him.
I know my daughter, and she would not just let somebody do that to her and not fight back to get to her son.
Sophia says she would trade places with her daughter in an instant.
I would die for her. I don't care. She deserves to be here more than me.
Police haven't released a motive or explained what led up to Ariana's murder. The family created a GoFundMe to help with her memorial expenses. If you can help.
How sad for the family. Just terrible. Yeah, like the authorities haven't given out a motive, which is not something they have to do in a court of law. You don't have to have a motive, but it would be nice to sort of know how it went from heading out to the movies and doing that to killing her and burying her in the desert. They're saying here, according to the affidavit, detectives discovered 2 movie souvenir cups, casings, concrete mix, a female bra, and latex gloves at the scene where they found her body. They also found concrete and lye in the dirt with the body. So he tried to dissolve her in lye, then tried to encase her in concrete and buried her in a shallow grave. It almost seems premeditated. Why would you go and have all these things to, yeah, like why would you do all this? They're saying here Glendale police became involved on July 7 after she was reported missing. They're saying that they found her cell phone had been left behind. They also found that a dog that was still crated in her home and had been on its own for several days with no food. And that was enough of an indication that there had been at least some kind of suspicious nature. Yeah, it does. Like I don't think she would leave her pet like that. And they're saying here the cell phone data ended up tracking them out to the remote desert area. Investigators believe the two had been in contact on multiple different occasions before they physically got together. And what's interesting here is that when they arrested him, he was found cleaning his vehicle. So when the cops came to get him, he was like washing the inside of the car out. Yeah, that doesn't seem suspicious at all. Doing a forensic detailed cleaning of your car. What a horrible story for that family. Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can get any more. Like, when's he next due in court? Let's have a look. When's he next got to go to court? So yeah, he's saying that that according to the court, this was very premeditated and horrific homicide is what the prosecution said to the judge. And given all that, that's why the state believes a $2 million cash only bond was appropriate. Yeah, I think that is appropriate. Let's have a look. What else did they say? So apparently he has a criminal history. They're saying here that he was charged in connection with a burglary, an armed burglary of 2 different gas stations in the area, and that he has a criminal history. He has a really big criminal history to do with theft. They're saying court documents reveal that he was arrested in May of 2025 after employees at a Quick Trip told police he impersonated a worker and stole $200 from the register before doing the same thing at the Phoenix location. He was sentenced on a criminal impersonation charge in November and then was put on a 2-year probation. Court documents show he was listed as non-dangerous at the time of his sentencing. Non-dangerous, eh? So he just had some theft charges at the time. Interesting. Let's have a look. So when's he next? I'm trying to find out when he's next due in court. Let's have a look. I don't have a new court date for him, unfortunately. Just trying to see if don't have a court date for when he's supposed to next be in court, unfortunately. Just that $2 million bond is not going away. They're saying that is basically will not be reduced.
A desperate search for a missing Valley woman has turned into a murder investigation.
Glendale police have arrested a man who they say met a woman online, social media, went on a date with her, and then murdered her, burying her body near Lake Pleasant. Fox 10's Megan Spector joins us now with new details.
Detectives used everything from cell phone data to surveillance video to track down this suspect, 24-year-old Dominic Rodolico. But as the investigation continues, those who knew the victim, 21-year-old Ariana Jones, are remembering the friend they lost.
Anytime you saw me, you saw Ari. Anytime you saw Ari, you asked about where I was at.
Like, we were inseparable, I could say.
Over the phone, a close friend of Ariana Jones speaks to her memory.
She made everybody smile. She was very kind-hearted. She did her best to be around everyone she loved. She was going through a hard time herself, and yet she never put anybody behind her, never failed to check in or let people know, like, she was there.
Jones was found dead in a remote area near Lake Pleasant on July 11th, 4 days after her family reported her missing.
Detectives, I can tell you, did find a shallow grave in that area, and they found a body in that grave. There was enough evidence, physical evidence of not only clothing, but other things matching Miss Jones to be able to identify her.
Digital evidence, vehicle tracking, and surveillance footage quickly led detectives to Dominic Rodolico, who was already on felony probation in connection to a burglary.
All right, sir, can you state your name and date of birth, please? Dominic Rodolico, June 18th, 2002.
Police say they met after connecting online. Rodolico denies being involved in her death.
He is saying that the two of them were in this remote area and that two individuals showed up and attacked them.
But police say the physical evidence contradicts his story.
Sufficient enough evidence to link them together. There was sufficient enough evidence to show Mr. Rodolico was in that area several times before they actually were in the area.
Investigators tracked the pair to a movie theater before they drove to Lake Pleasant. According to court documents, detectives found 2 Harkins souvenir cups where she was buried.
Have this surveillance video show where they were as far as the movies were concerned, and we were able to find them in different areas of the valley using other cameras. We were able to pinpoint their cell phone usage in different areas. All of that combined helped us really solve the case.
Now, detectives are still going through evidence to determine the extent of their relationship, but police believe that this date was the first time these two had met in person. Police did not share details about the cause of death, and as for a motive, that is still under investigation. Live in the control room, Megan Spector, Fox 10 News.
It just seems to get worse and worse for him every time we hear more about it. Kelly said, "We have gone to that lake many times. It's very popular for camping, boating, hiking, and swimming." Yes. I know. You go to the movies, and she told people she was going. So you decide to kill her, bury her, pour concrete on her, but you leave behind the evidence from the movie theater. Well done. Well done. Another person we can put up on our imaginary wall of dumb criminals. And another person, because it never seems to get any better. These criminals always seem to screw up. I mean, it's good for the prosecution, but it just seems to be like every time they do something like that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have any more about him. When we get more to do with his next court date, I'll bring it to you. But what a sad story for that young woman. Only 21 years old. Far too young. Here's a photo of just her. Far too young to be and she's a mum. She's got a young child, and now that child has to grow up without mum. Very very sad, very sad. Let's see if I can find anything else to tell you about it, but I don't think so. I think that's it. Oh, that's weird. Again, this is interesting. Someone just sent me a story out of Texas and said maybe this is like the bayou thing, like where they kept finding bodies in the bayou. They're saying what? Officers say yeah. Here, let me take you out to KHOU. This happened at White Bayou, and they're saying that this woman had to jump in the water to save her own life. Hold on, guys. My yeah, let's take you out here. Listen to this story out of Texas quickly. This will be the last one.
Recovering after investigators say she fought off a man who sexually assaulted her then tried to drown her along the White Oak Bayou Trail.
Now a suspect is in custody and investigators are looking into whether he may be connected to other attacks.
Katira Winfrey live along the trail. This is near Alabonson Road with the very latest. Katira?
Well, Lynn and Mia, we've learned in the last hour the suspect was given a $7,500 bond, but we're told this trail is typically busy around this time. But that survivor yesterday fought off the attacker on her own. Authorities say she was able to climb up the embankment, but first she scratched his eye and snatched out his hair. A suspect accused of sexually assaulting and attempting to drown a woman in White Oak Bayou is in custody.
Clearly, this person has a problem. And, we need to make sure that the criminal justice system holds them accountable.
This is a mugshot from a previous arrest in January. That suspect is 19-year-old Jacoby Foslier. He's accused of attacking a woman around 6:30 Monday evening. Constables converged on this Northwest Houston neighborhood.
It was just like a nerve-wracking thing to hear that there's any kind of crime going on.
Precinct 1 Constable Alan Rosen says this may not be his first assault. Other jurisdictions are looking at him, adding this survivor alert neighbors and good police work tracked him down.
She was able to grab hair out of his head. She was able to scrape his eye. And that's what it took.
Rosen says the woman broke free, saying they found signs on the embankment where the confrontation happened and where the victim climbed her way back up the embankment.
She wanted to survive. She wanted to live. He wanted to drown her. So I can just tell you this is just an incredible woman.
Rosen says alert neighbors pointed police to the man. He was located nearby just hours after the assault. So far, charged with evading and resisting arrest, with additional charges expected.
Every time we go.
That woman is lucky to be alive. The fact that she survived that, like, she could have jumped and then drowned. Like, it could have very easily happened. They're saying here that the woman was exercising, 19 years old, and they're accusing him of trying to drown her as well. They're saying the 19-year-old man is accused of essaying and trying to pin down the woman in Texas, has been arrested after she fought him off and escaped. His name is Jacoby Isaiah. He is accused of attacking the woman about 6:30 p.m. local time on Monday as she exercised along the White Oak Bayou River in the Inwood area of Houston. They're saying the woman was able to flee the scene and located deputy constables after informing them of the attack. She was then taken to hospital to be treated. Here's a photo of like the bayou area. Look at that. I think it's much higher. This is when it is quite low with the water, but I think it gets much higher than this. Look at that. And she could have drowned very easily. Here, let me tell you more about him. They're saying deputies flew a drone above the bayou and saw claw marks through the mud and on the grass on the bayou's bank, which helped them pinpoint the scene of the attack. They then followed bike tracks to a residential street where home surveillance footage showed a man who matched the attacker. They're saying here a witness said a man on a bike had whistled at her while she was outside, but left after seeing her husband. She reported she saw the man again, giving officers information that helped them arrest him. They're saying here Isaiah was arrested after a brief chase and struggle. They're saying that he tried to resist arrest. They're saying he was found with some of the woman's possessions and had injuries aligning with those she told police she had inflicted on him while trying to defend herself. She explained that she gouged at his eyes and grabbed clumps of his hair. He's been charged with evading arrest early on Tuesday, and they're gathering more information to hopefully charge him with a higher crime. They're saying he was given a $7,500 bond, and that they're looking at maybe first-degree felony, aggravated SA. So they're saying that charge got filed on Wednesday. So he's got another charge now. And they're saying this is an incredible story of a woman's strength and will to survive. Yeah, it definitely is. It could have turned out much worse, much worse. They're saying here they think that she is not the first victim and that there may be others in nearby counties. And they have passed the information on him along to other counties because they have crimes that match what he did. So they're saying that his MO matches crimes that they don't have a suspect for. So they are looking at him as a possible criminal that did this in other counties. I wonder if, because there's been multiple women that have been attacked around the rivers in Houston over the last 12 months. I wonder if it's him. I wonder if he's the one who's been doing it all over Houston. Because there's like several that we read about earlier this year where women were attacked. Yeah, here, look at the river like from today. See the other photo I showed you? It was quite low. Look at it now. Like you could drown in there very easily. It is much deeper than the other photo. She is very, very lucky to survive. Very, I mean, it could have been so different. Amy said there's nothing clean about a bayou. Yeah, probably not. Gayla said it looks like a clean area, no trash. All the trash from further up, because all the bayous are connected, anything upriver travels down the bayou. So that can be like needles, glass, automotive, household, chemical, environmental. It all goes through the bayou because they're all like they twist and wind throughout the city. So they go for hundreds of miles. So yeah, I would not be swimming in the bayou. Yeah, a lot of rain. Yeah. Especially after we heard over the last 12 months how many people end up in the bayous and how many bodies they have found in the bayous in Houston. I would not be voluntarily hopping into them. I would not be like, hey, I would like to cool off in the summer heat and jump into the bayou. I don't think even the locals do that. So yeah, yeah, I don't think they do that either. There you go. We haven't had a Houston story in a while. Alligators in the bayou? Really? Hold on, is there? Is there really in Houston? Oh, there are. Apparently in this bayou, so this is the White Buffalo Bayou, there are alligators that live in there. There are 100% alligators that live there. Yeah, don't do that. Otherwise you might see this. Apparently this alligator was like a photo was taken of him not far from where the woman was attacked. So yeah, I would not be voluntarily getting in with that thing. What kind of snakes live in Houston? A water moccasin? Is that what lives there? Let's have a look. Houston Bayou water moccasin. Do water moccasins live around there? Ah, they do. Ugh. Water moccasin are like the craziest snake. I am so petrified of them. And that's coming from an Australian. They are nasty. I've heard these snakes will really mess you up if you get bit by one. There's one, and they can swim. They can swim on the top. So I would not like to run into a water moccasin. I've heard these things are nasty as F. Yeah, I've heard they're like really fat and they're just like a real chunky snake. And they're often like found near water, obviously. So yeah, I do not I think they're a viper, right? Because they look like the vipers that we have in Australia. Quite short, quite fat, and they've got like a real thin tail. Like that. You see how he's got a really thin tail, but his body is really fat? I think they're like a viper. Because they look like the vipers that we have down here. Yeah, I would not like to get bit by that. That does not sound good. Amy said, I live next to a bayou. My dumb dog fights snakes all the time. I hope it does not get bit. I hope your dog doesn't get bitten. Copperhead and coral snake. Oh. Kim said, I'm glad I left Houston already. A bunch of other non-venomous snakes as well. Okay. Look, I only care about the water moccasin and the rattlesnake. They're the only ones that Ping knows. But yeah, I've heard about these. These are really nasty though. I've heard that if these bite you, that like they can do some damage. Like apparently their toxin can do like that flesh eating thing, and you can get like the loss of like limbs and legs. And there's another one. Look how they're huge. They're like a freaking serpent. They're a pretty chunky animal, aren't they? They're freaking massive. There's another one. Knock on wood, I've only seen one rattlesnake living here in Phoenix. I've never seen one. I hope I never see one. They seem more creepy than the snakes we have here. All right, let's get out of here for the night. Hey, I love you all very much. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you to Dan Yee. This channel needs your support, otherwise we can't do this stuff. We won't be able to go to these trials and things like that. So I appreciate all the people who do support the channel, and hopefully we can bring you some good content over the next couple of months with these new court updates. And just remember, there's a good chance I will not be here tomorrow. I have a court thing in the morning. I'm probably going to be gone all day, and I'm hoping this will eventually pay off, that all these months of court hearings that I've gone to, that in the end it will benefit you guys, and you'll have all the best information coming up in the next couple of months. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.